I think you guys know me well enough now. If we go down that road, I want to do right by Justin as well. No one wants to live in gray. I know that's uncomfortable. I wouldn't want to be in that situation either. So we'll gather that information. We'll move as quickly as possible. We're not going to be in a rush and see what presents itself and what's best for the organization.
Fields got to go. He's got to go. You draft Caleb Williams, all right? Now, take this into consideration. This is why you absolutely positively cannot stick with Fields, even though I think he has tremendous potential. And whether it's Atlanta or whether it's the Pittsburgh Steelers or somebody, they should strongly consider bringing him on board.
The Justin Fields trade saga has just gone even more intense with some breaking news we found out today. Now listen to this. Adam Schefter came out and said, there's been a lot of speculation on Atlanta being that team. However, he thinks Atlanta will be, something of a surprise right now to trade for Justin Fields. And there's been, many conversations about the Pittsburgh Steelers maybe trying to figure something out and trying to get Justin Fields over to Pittsburgh. Now, the funny thing is about this whole situation is there's a ton of Bears fans that are split right down the middle. They're like, well, I kind of want to keep Justin Fields and see where it goes. And then there's the other Chicago Bears fans who are like, listen, we have an opportunity at Caleb Williams. We need to take it. Comment down below which side do you stand on. Are you just waiting for the day of the Bears to trade Justin Fields, or do you kind of want them to keep Fields and see how it goes in the future? Now, you guys have to look at it from this perspective, and I think Stephen A. Smith said it perfectly, but Ryan Poles, the new GM of the Chicago Bears, he is not the guy that drafted Justin Fields. Quite frankly, he owes him nothing, but he's also in the prime position to take a potential franchise generational quarterback. The Bears have already passed up on multiple good quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. I know that's irrelevant right now, but you don't want to be known as a team that passed up on Caleb Williams just in case he does end up being that guy.
Caleb Williams is considered a stud. And because he's considered a stud with such tremendous potential, do you want to be the franchise? A franchise, by the way, who already passed up on Deshaun Watson, who already passed up on Patrick Mahomes, and did so in the same draft that they moved up in to get the number 2 overall slot to draft Mitchell Trubisky. You can't have Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, and then Caleb Williams on your docket as quarterbacks you passed up on when the best quarterback in franchise history is Jim McMahon from 1985. Remember that?
Now, there are two really underrated teams right now that can go out and bring in a guy like Justin Fields, but also gives it more of a smokescreen to help other teams get involved in the situation. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Las Vegas Raiders are going to make this deal happen. One of these teams are going to push it so much that it's going to force another team like Atlanta to just throw in all their, eggs in one basket and go acquire Justin Fields. So yes, I do think that these teams now coming in here, now entering the sweepstakes, could really help Chicago get the most out of trading a guy like Justin Fields. But let's talk about where Justin Fields could fit in perfectly, because outside of Atlanta, I think the Steelers or the Raiders could be huge, and let me tell you why. Now, the Las Vegas Raiders, in my opinion, are the most interesting team this offseason, and they could do a ton of different things, including going out there and adding Justin Fields to their team. Now, the one thing that makes me, kind of hone in on the Raiders being a landing spot for Justin Fields is the fact that they're trying to trade up for a guy like Jayden Daniels. Now, with that being said, they would have to move up to a top 2, maybe top 3 pick in order to do so. The problem is the Patriots, the Commanders, and the Bears would all need a quarterback, which means none of the guys that they want will be there if they're able to trade up to, 4 or 5, whatever it may be. Their guy most likely won't be there anymore, which means Justin Fields is probably the next best available guy. We have a new coaching staff over here with Antonio Pierce, and they are looking to bring in new talent. Justin Fields is a guy who I like. I think he still has a ton of potential as a quarterback in this league, and when you look at what the Raiders are trying to do, they're trying to build a team of dogs, right? And I feel like Justin Fields right now has a chip on his shoulder, and he's ready to prove the world that he is better than everybody thinks. Listen, go ahead. take Caleb Williams, but I'm going to make sure the Bears regret this forever. Now, if that happens, I don't know. But I do believe that Justin Fields could make the Raiders a whole lot better. Let's see what ESPN and some of their analysts had to say about the Raiders being a potential fit.
In my opinion, I think he'd fit really well with the Raiders. Go back to Luke Getsy. Go back to where you did, because I think Luke really built the offense around him finally once he found out his skill set. And so I think you put Justin Fields in Elevate.
And then there's a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers who have one of the best defenses in football right now, but are lacking the offensive playmaking, the offensive scoring to be one of the best teams in the NFL. And I think Justin Fields could also really help them as well. And I think he could fit in like a puzzle piece, adding a brand new dynamic to their offense, right? They brought in an offensive coordinator who really wants to run the football and get the ground game working with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. But imagine if you had a Justin Fields back there, making it even more of an impact in their running game. Guys, think about it for just a second. Justin Fields would be electric in Pittsburgh, and the fan base would love him. This would be epic. This would be game-changing, right, for next season if the Steelers want to go out and make this move. Now, before we get into the analysts and see what they have to say about Pittsburgh, do me a favor, hit that like button. Let's get this video up to 200 likes. If we get to 200 likes, we will drop more videos covering this saga. But also subscribe, join the family. It is free, doesn't cost you anything. But let's get into the ESPN analysts, see what they have to say about the Steelers.
The best fit. I've thought this the whole entire time. It's a good fit for Pittsburgh, part because of where they're picking in the draft outside of that top 3. I don't like the idea of them trading a haul to move up to take the next tier of quarterbacks. And I also like how he fits with that offense. What we saw last year, the identity they established on the ground, then bringing in Arthur Smith, you know he wants to continue that focus on the run, but also take deep shots off of play action, put some tight ends on the field. I just think Justin Fields makes a lot of sense. And that's not even getting to the design quarterback run game, which we saw Arthur Smith do well with Marcus Mariota in Atlanta. I think it could be even better in Pittsburgh.
And then there's the Atlanta Falcons with a ton of playmakers with Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, right? He goes back home to Georgia, Atlanta area. You have Raheem Morris, who is really good with player development. I think this would be a phenomenal fit. You know, the team who's been in it from the start, just waiting for that quarterback to come in and change the entire, atmosphere over here in Atlanta, going back to the Mike Vick days. That's the type of electricity that Justin Fields can bring to Atlanta. But let me know, before we get into this little segment about, with the ESPN, and let's see what they have to say about Atlanta, comment down below, who do you think is the best fit for Justin Fields?
Yeah, you love it there just from a pure football perspective. But let's just take it and back out and take it from a relationship perspective. Look, Raheem Morris, if you've ever talked to him, is a guy who really relates to players on the offensive and defensive side, because he's coached both sides of the ball, which makes him kind of like Mike Tomlin. Both of these guys have coached both sides of the ball. And when you think about the offense that Zach Robinson's going to install down there, he's coming from LA with Sean McVay. It's the same kind of thing, in essence, that Aurthur wants to try to do. Lots of run-centric type of plays, inside-outside zone, play-action pass, move the pocket. This is right in Justin's wheelhouse now. TJ Yates, a former quarterback himself, is going to be there. Yeah. Exactly. No relation to this guy on my left.
Glad we
but a
cleared
guy,
that up.
again, who can kind of help form that kind of tripod of people that are going to really be in charge of developing him in a situation like this. Young, up-and-coming offensive line, stud running back, stud tight end, stud young number 1 wide receiver, back home with Raheem Morris. I mean, are you kidding me?
I think it's natural to connect some dots right there. I actually kind of think that maybe Luke Getsy's presence in Las Vegas makes it less likely that they would acquire Justin Fields. My general feeling about how Luke Getsy feels about Justin Fields is it's very much on one side of the extreme or the other. He probably either thinks that Justin Fields has all the goods to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback and that they just need a little more time together, or he feels like, you know what, we gave it a hearty shot this past year, but it's just not the right fit for them. I tend to think it's more of the latter, and if you're Las Vegas, the interesting part about this offense is that their head coach, Antonio Pierce, has made it very clear. Like, we want to play amazing defense, ground control on offense, and the formula that worked for us in the last time the Chiefs lost a football game, which was Christmas Day of 2023, is how they want to play football, and yet they have all the weapons, or at least some of the weapons in place. 2 wide receivers, a tight end, Michael Mayer, they drafted in the 2nd round last year, that you'd say to yourself, if they made a legitimate quarterback upgrade, easier said than done, this team could be fun offensively. I just don't think that Justin Fields is the right fit.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, there is a lot more teams who are interested in Justin Fields that we think, obviously, from the outside looking in, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, the Raiders, but there's also a team like the Patriots or the Giants or the Broncos who are looking for a quarterback as well, and I feel like Justin Fields, although he's not getting traded right now, I think it will happen in the very near future, right? Free agency is right around the corner, a couple of weeks away. I think this trade happens sooner rather than later. Comment down below your final prediction. Where does Justin Fields play football in 2024?